you. So how many of you right now, you use some sort of social media, internet, something to promote your practice somewhere along the lines? So obviously, most everybody does that now. So we really thought this would be this very practical session where Bryan, who is considered one of the biggest experts in the world, he was just in, as I don't know if they mentioned it. So this is chiropractic economics. He's literally in the current issue right now as their expert on social media marketing, but really online marketing of all kinds, because it's not just about Facebook, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. And it's not just about Facebook. You really have to take like a 360 approach to it. Facebook is one of the most important places to be on, but you have to be everywhere that your potential patients might be to really maximize your impact.
Yes, I want these because they probably are either having to choose somebody, because I get pitched. Do you guys get pitched like every 7 minutes online to have somebody promote your practice? I know I do somewhere along the line. So how do you differentiate between good ones and bad ones? What are some things to look for?
That's a great question. It's funny. Some of you guys probably got this in the mail. There's actually like a white ad on top of this. But I actually talked about in the most recent edition, 6 things you got to really look for to hire the right agency. And one of the things that I said is you really want to look for someone that actually understands chiropractic, because there's a lot of people out there that maybe they just want to jump into the game and just try to, get into online marketing, and they see chiropractors as low-hanging fruit. But they really don't understand the struggle that chiropractors go through, and they don't really understand the industry as a whole. Another thing that's really, really important is that they have longevity in their testimonials. It's one thing to launch an ad campaign and for it to be successful for 30, 60, 90 days, but it's another thing to be able to run consistently, develop new patient strategies, and consistently develop lead gen for chiropractors over a long period of time. It's important that whoever you hire to run your online advertising, online marketing strategy, that they have a diversity of strategies, that they're not just a one-trick pony, you could say, where they saw an ad somewhere and they copied it, but they know how to really transition different strategies over time and really develop unique strategies that's specific for you, but also strategies that are specific for your practice 6 months, 12 months, 18 months down the road as different platforms develop, or even as Facebook or Google or whatever new advertising channel that develops changes their strategies. You guys have to be able to adapt over time.
So when you say you know something about chiropractic, how come you know so much about chiropractic?
Well, the reason I know so much about chiropractic is my uncle actually has been practicing 42 years, and he's back there. And so both of my parents and my uncle are chiropractors. And
Mom and dad.
Mom and dad. So over 100 years of combined chiropractic experience in my family.
That's great. Yeah. So you've been getting adjusted since birth?
Since birth.
No wonder you're so smart. Yep. So I know for a lot of the stuff I've used when I've used online people, it does well for a little bit, then it like falls off a cliff. So why is that, and what are things that can be done to stop that from happening?
Sure. So the reason that a campaign will fall off the cliff is something called ad fatigue. Has anybody ever heard that concept before? And so what that means is you run your ad, and it's fresh to your area, fresh to your market. It's exciting. People are seeing it for the first time. They're opting in. But then after time, people keep seeing the ad over and over and over again, or the same offer, and it's like their eyes glaze over. And so a lot of times companies don't know how to pivot. They know how to get a campaign running, but they don't know how to maintain momentum. So you have to have a series of what I call offer swaps and a series of different optimizations that you can do over time that works long term. And we see this in big corporate organizations as well. Like McDonald's, for example, everybody knows when the McRib's back, or Monopoly comes back. These are a series of offer swaps that they've really planned out 12, 18, or even 24 months out of different promotions they're running month by month and different angles they're going to take to be fresh. And so it's important as we run campaigns that we don't just have one thing we're doing, but we're thinking of a long-term approach of what do we do once it slows down, and do we have a technical team that knows how to combat ad fatigue, not only in the creatives, but also in the back-end optimization.
Yeah, so I run 9 companies, and we have an ad budget, or a marketing budget, and the idea is ROI. So a lot of doctors will say, well, the reason I don't do it is because it costs $1,000 or $2,000 or $5,000. I've got clients, chiropractic clients, that spend over $100,000 every month. but they make $500,000 a month off that advertising. So tell us a little bit about ROI, because that cost per lead. I know that's something you focus on a lot.
Sure. I mean, at the beginning, you got to ask yourself, where do I want to go? How much do I want to make? Do I want to have a 30% increase in my practice next year? And if you want to have a 30% increase, you got to say, okay, how many new patients do I have to get to achieve that? So say, for example, if your case average is $2,000 and you want to make $100,000 more in the next year, we have to have 50 new patients on care at $2,000. Plus, all the referrals they're going to be giving you. So if it requires 50 new patients on care, how are we going to do that? We can reverse engineer this. You can say, okay, if we need 50 new patients, and I run an ad campaign, let's say for 50 patients, we say that we have to get, say our cost per lead, say it costs $10 per lead, okay, and say we have to get 3 leads to actually get somebody to schedule online. So that means for $30, we can get somebody to schedule. And we say, okay, so for every 2 people who schedule, 1 person comes in. So now we know it's $60 get somebody in the door. And we say for half the people that come in, 1 signs up for care. So now we know for $120, we can get $2,000. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then you can say, okay, so what's 120 times 50? Bam, there's your ad budget.
Yeah, there's a term I use called the magic slot machine. This is actually a good one to write down. By the way, the one thing I do know, this is a Christ-centered chiropractic seminar. So when you get to heaven, this is the only thing I know for sure about heaven. They are going to ask you for the notes from this conference. And if you haven't taken any, you don't get to get in. So the magic slot machine is this. If I put in $1 and $4 comes out, then I'm going to want to put in as many dollars as I can, since I'm making 4 times my money every time. And what we miss in small businesses often, particularly chiropractors, is that if it's working, if you're getting a 4 to 5 times return on your ad budget, what do you want to keep doing? You want to keep feeding more and more money into the ad budget. We call it scaling your marketing. So we want to work up to where you maybe are putting in $50,000, $100,000 a month if you really are getting a $500,000 return. So it is important to be spending money on it. Now, I've owned gyms, and we used to go to coaching for gyms, and they used to make us, our coaches would make us put in 8% every single month, except for like January, February, where you would put in 16% because of the ROI, and we tend to miss that. The idea of being dollar-wise and $10 stupid, where you're saving the $10 and you're really losing thousands. So this next one, you mentioned layers, so there's having a holistic approach. So, most people are only familiar with just doing Facebook or just doing reviews or Google or something. What is a holistic approach that really works and it's sustainable?
That's a great question, and we actually have a slide, so you can put that up there for this. And so don't be overwhelmed by this, but it's really important to have a holistic 360 strategy. And so what I mean by that is, okay, so you're running the offer of whatever it is that you're promoting, but then also you're doing something called remarketing across multiple channels. So for example, they go to your website, whether it's a landing page or your main site, then we install Pixel on their computer, on their phone, and then they're seeing you on Facebook and Instagram, cross-platform on their phone and also on their desktop. But also maybe they're seeing you on news websites. They're seeing you on Forbes if you're reading news online, or they're seeing you on YouTube as like a remarketing ad on YouTube. Additionally, it's important to have testimonials running in the background, and you can have a layered approach where they watch half of the first testimonial, and then they see the next video, and they see half of the next video, and they see the third video. Half of the third video, you see the fourth video. And you have like layers of different angles that they'll see that based upon previous activity. Additionally, we want to have like different email campaigns going out because your list is crucial. You want to be constantly educating them. And so literally you can have different campaigns based upon their engagement with your emails. Are they opening the email? If they open the email, then they're seeing this ad in their newsfeed. If they're clicking a link, then they're getting this text automation. And not only that, it's crucial to be advertising where your patients are. So they're not just on Facebook, which is everybody should be there, but also are you running ads on Google to be at the top of the search engine? Are you running ads directly on YouTube? Are you running ads on other people's Yelp business pages for other chiropractors? So when someone's looking for a chiropractor and they go to someone else's Yelp page, they see your ad there. And so by having a 360 solution for this, and that you're utilizing different in-depth strategies across different platforms, everywhere they go, you're going to be there. And that's really how we want to shift you from being a referral-based chiropractor to a first-choice chiropractor.
That's awesome. Final thing, then we wanted to get Ryan and Andrew up here to talk a bit about it. But reputation. So obviously as a chiropractor, a lot of my clients, they get worried that all it takes is that one patient that gets ticked off and goes out there and gives them a bad Yelp review. How do you deal with reviews and how to improve all that?
Well, the first thing is if somebody leaves you a bad review, message them directly and just try to rectify the situation and ask them nicely if they'll take the bad review down. And then if they don't take the review down, and if it's inaccurate, you can actually flag it. And if it truly is inaccurate, it'll be removed by the platform. But then if it's accurate and they won't take it down, respond. Respond to the review, say, apologize for it, say how you're willing to make it right, and also how new people aren't going to have to deal with that because you fixed the solution in your guys' processes.
Nice. I have these two guys, Vito and Luigi, that I just send to their house, but I guess that sounds like a smarter, more longevity. We wanted to bring Ryan and Andrew back up because they really have built this practice that functions purely off of your work, and just kind of talk to how they've built these $1 million clinics here, right in the area, just working with you, and just kind of get a chance to hear from them. So, Dr. Ryan, Dr. Andrew.
Just don't ask me any questions about that graph you just put up.
So how has it worked for you guys? Because you guys are kind of like, to me, you're the consummate 2019 clinics, because it's all through online work, and yet we've built these $1 million a year deals. So how's that whole thing work?
Well, to really take it all the way back, it's incredible of how within our chiropractic community it was, well, this doctor's trying this, and right, we've all done it, and you have the guinea pigs of friends, like, you try it, and really it worked its way down to where a doc in a very competitive area that was just maybe having a tough time with growth is like, man, I've done this, and it's incredible. You have to try it, and right, we've all heard that so many times, and good buddy here, I've been in practice by myself at this point for like a year, 2 years, and he's like, dude, you try it first. I'm like, sure, all right, yeah, thanks a lot. But put it into effect. I talked to Bryan through the process, and he, gave me a lot of techno babble, as he calls it. I'm like, I don't understand. Is it going to get people in my doors? Because I know our product of chiropractic is incredible. And I'm like, if you can get them in front of me, I promise I'll take care of the rest. But how do I do that, especially without a presence in the community yet, without taking advantage of social media to the biggest advantage? So this was something to where I'm like, how can it be quick? That was one thing I wanted because it's one thing I needed. And from there, it was just unbelievable of the way it works, of the growth that I've seen within my office, of adding staff, building another office, adding more equipment, seeing more people, and being able to truly be the guy in the community. That's what it's done for me. And from there, I know Dr. Ryan's going to talk about it, but the time that it's allowed for us to enjoy our life, our family, our friends, our faith, and to be able to see more people while doing it.
So I'm laughing because, so like he said, he tried it first.
You're welcome.
And, yes. And so we work every Sunday together in this hallway here. We're actors in the...
For kids.
For kids, yes. Not for adults.
Not professional.
And so it was one Sunday morning, we were back there getting ready to act, and his phone's like, it's dinging like crazy. He's like, look. And it's like, new client, another one. I'm like, what is this?
He's like, are they real? I was like, they've got a name, a phone number, and an email.
Yeah.
And they just scheduled for Monday.
Yeah.
He's like, you are at church. I'm like, I know. He's like, is it for real? And then you go to work on Monday, and it's all ready to go. Like, it's just...
Yeah, so I called Bryan on Monday. It didn't take me, this is like 3 weeks into it, so he keeps scrolling up. So I'm like, okay, 3 weeks, I'm good, let's go. So I called Bryan, and it wasn't about 3 to 4 months of this every month where, new patients just were exploding. I knew Dr. Ben retired or whatever he did. I hadn't talked to him in a couple years, but I respect, this guy's changed my life, him and Dr. Rob, as far as my practice and my personal life more than anyone, and in the chiropractic world, along with his dad spiritually. So I called Dr. Ben, and I said, I need your help. I think I messaged you on Facebook, and I said, I have a new patient problem, but it's not the kind usually that you hear about. It's how do we process these? I said, will you please help me? And he said, yes, I will. So here we are.
Yeah, 2.5 years.
2.5 years later.
Brian is still behind the computer doing incredible things. Seriously, one of the only things that we can attest to up here is you have to try it. I mean, we're going to talk about it tomorrow, but you've got to try it.
Not to steal your talk, but Dr. Ben then said, how are you doing this? Where's this coming from? Who is this guy? He's like, Ryan, you need to keep moving forward with this. The chiropractic profession needs to do this. So that's where we are.
Awesome.
That's us.
Thanks, guys. We're about out of time, but one thing, so regardless of who you're using for social media or online marketing, the doctor does, they're making it sound like they do nothing. Like, how can any of them help whoever is their marketing person do a better job?
Yeah, one thing the doctor can do is whenever the marketing person, maybe they might ask for videos or they might ask for testimonials, just get those to your marketer because your marketer wants to make you look good. If we ask you for content, we're trying to make you famous. We're trying to get it in front of your potential patients, and so we want to work with you to make you shine the best you can in your community for sure.
Awesome. I know we're about out of time, but you're going to be hanging out at the booth and said you'd help them.
Yep. So I'll be at the booth, so come by. I'll answer any questions. I'm here for you guys. Like, I'm flying on a mission trip to Vietnam on Sunday, but I came here. I'm flying actually from here to Vietnam because I think this is that important that you guys do this. Because if you guys make more money and are more successful, not only are you helping your community in a greater measure, but you're going to increase your revenues to be able to give to missions in a greater measure and to give to your church. And that's what it's all about.
Wow. Awesome. Thank you.